I mean, people that know me know that I like clothes
Yeah.
too much, to be honest. But
I
and
should
there's
have
some,
mentioned that. Like I think fashionista, man.
yeah,
Like
absolutely. Um, I've met people that are like, you do art? I thought you just bought clothes. Right? No, but
all right, here we go. Election night. The fate of the nation. A couple of episodes back, I conversed with Cindy Shepard, City Council here in Hearst, and it was a debate night, and she asked to push the conversation back an hour or so because she was a political person. And tonight, as I thought about that, I said, my politics is art. And I think Damien Taylor, part of the future of this nation, part of the future of art and creativity, will agree with me. So here he is, and we're going to talk through the election, man.
hey, what's
How
poppin'?
you doing?
I'm not terrible. It's election, so it's kind of a bummer. Other than that, I'm doing all right.
A bummer. What happened?
Uh,
Talk to me. I need to hear it from the youth, you know.
from the youth of today,
Yeah.
uh, I don't, you know, I just don't. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the candidates. Uh,
Okay.
I mean, I guess you're not really supposed to be a fan of the candidates, but I would prefer somebody else. But it's all good. Whatever happens will happen. We'll make it through it probably.
Yeah. I agree. I would rather vote on music or anything.
Hey, some people
But
did vote on music. Some people voted Kanye in. People.
there you go. Power to the music. So what's up? What are you up to?
Oh man, nothing much. The quarantine really killed a lot of stuff for me. Uh, I know. I've just been trying to like paint and stuff still. Just whatever I can get done.
Okay.
I've
How
been doing
often
a
are you
lot.
painting?
Uh, I try to do it at least like twice or three times a week.
Okay.
Three being the rarity, twice being the most of the time. I've been sticking mostly with jackets and stuff here recently.
I've seen
Uh,
some of those. Those are cool.
yeah, that's what seems to be getting the traction. So I'm not gonna mess with a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't want to do jackets now.
Well, here's the thing. You can do that.
I can for sure.
I do it all the time. It's fun. It's
Oh
fun to
yeah,
have
you're right.
people go, but that makes you so much money. And just say, yeah, well, I'm doing this now.
That makes
Um,
sense.
it's yeah. You know about punk rock,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
know about punk rock.
When
Yeah, I know about the aggressive rock and rolls. I do. I do.
yeah. So background on Damien Taylor. First time I met this youngster, I was it was one of my first shows exhibiting at Central Arts in Bedford, and Damien he sang somebody happy birthday with the punk rock band behind him. It was great, and I was like, this guy's good. I want to I want to know him. I want to go to Waffle House with them afterwards and the band and see what he's about. So you if I had to describe you, you're a young Renaissance man.
You think I'm a young Renaissance man?
I do. I think you do. You're you're having fun being young and sampling this and that and seeing how it all comes together. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I will say that Waffle House night, that was the best time I've ever had at a Waffle House, which I guess isn't saying a whole bunch, but that was cool.
Well, you know what? That's like because we have these art shows. That's my favorite part. Is where are we going to grub later? And just hanging out and talking smack. That's probably one of my best uh, or the most fun I have at art shows is the after the after grubbing. So I think it's a tradition maybe or maybe not maybe
It's a good one
but
for sure.
I think so. That's where a lot of ideas get thrown around and yeah.
I remember distinctly, we found out about that jukebox, and we found out that there was a heavier amount of Metallica than anything else. But there was also like Denny's own record label, where they
Yeah.
own, or not Denny's, Waffle House's own record label, where they made songs about like pancakes and eggs and stuff.
Exclusive catalog.
And so me and Cam to this day still make jokes about the Denny's record label, or that Waffle House record label.
Yeah. I've always thought it was cool that there's a jukebox in Waffle House. So Jackets, what else have you been doing? Well, talk about what all are you experiencing creatively?
I've been doing a lot of those jackets. I still do the canvas work. Uh, I've done a couple of cassette insert artworks for people recently. I'm about to start doing some shirt designs and stuff, like for my own brand. And so that'll be kind of neat. Kind of in the energy of like old 80s and 90s skateboard stuff.
Yeah, cool. Are you
So that'll be good.
do you just sell these yourself, or have you set up shop anywhere online?
Uh, I do. So I will say that a lot of people I've heard, they're like, "How do you have such good luck on just Facebook alone?" But
Mhm.
on Facebook, I have a surprising enough following to where I can just post something and it'll be gone. It'll be sold.
Not the use
And
of a
so
fan
that's,
page or anything?
yeah, just my own personal like friends list going in, like MySpace style, just going and be like, "Hey, I did this," and somebody either
Yeah.
wanting that or wanting to commission something, and that's worked for me so far. So I won't mess with a good thing until I have to.
So you haven't branched out into any of the other like Instagram or TikTok?
I do Instagram for like my vintage stuff, like when I sell my vintage clothes and stuff. I use that. I use Instagram for that. But even then, like I have just a better response on Facebook. So I'll post something on Instagram and it'll get like 2 likes. I post something on Facebook, it has like 60 and
Yeah.
a ton of comments. So it's like I post it on both because the reach is important, but Facebook is definitely the breadwinner in that.
Well, there's different strategies. Hashtags are everything on Instagram. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
also it's also years ago, because anytime there's a new format, like I like to study it. But an artist, Ugly Ink, is his handle. He's out of New Zealand and just grew this massive following. And so I picked his brain about it, and he said the difference in Instagram is the community. There,
That
and
makes sense.
well, it took me a while to process that, but as I started to compartmentalize my projects, like I have baseball projects, wrestling, this, that, I started to separate them into accounts, and I'm getting more feedback that way. So if you're doing something that's genre specific, it's kind of interesting to separate that out and fool with it that way. It's just way different than Facebook. Facebook's generally people, to me, that I've shook hands with. Some of them
Yeah.
aren't, some of them I have not, but most of these people I know, and I know a lot of people. And as far as that, yeah, it's good. But wanting to reach outside of that and start shipping your stuff different places, Instagram's pretty cool. So anyways, unsolicited knowledge there, Damien. So
Unsolicited knowledge. It's at least it's like good knowledge.
well, it's thoughts. I like talking about this stuff because believe it or not, people are listening, and sometimes it's stuff people haven't thought about. So, and it's important to think about it
Yeah,
because you mentioned COVID kind of taking your steam away a little bit.
a
Talk
little
about
bit.
that. What happened?
It wasn't even just like, I mean, like, especially on the art, but also just like everything. So I right before the lockdown, I had lost my job, and I ended up just switching straight over to just art and all the vintage stuff. And it was really, really strong for like that first like month or two of going into that lockdown, and
Yeah.
then it really dipped like really hard, like just on like the sales flow and stuff, which is like I still sold enough to the point where I'm like, yeah, I can keep doing this, but it was like it went from like really really good to just like really scraping, and it
Okay.
and I think a lot of it was because uh a lot of people did have to end up not working, and because if you don't work, you don't have the money to buy just frivolous paintings and windbreakers. So like that probably killed a lot of people's like want to buy those things. And then when the stimulus check came, uh people that thought they were gonna like, oh, I can spend this on stuff, they get it and they realize they haven't been working, and they're like, shoot, I need this money to be responsible with. And so that killed a lot of it. I didn't stop painting, but it ended up building up a lot of uh like like revenue of paintings. And I
Or
will say though,
do you mean inventory?
yeah, inventory, thank you, I could
Okay.
not think of the word to save my life. uh I will say though, when the lockdown was like imminent, that was when thrifts and stuff were empty. And so I was able to pick up at least probably like 40 or 50 denim jackets.
Yeah.
And so now every time someone orders one, unless they have some obscure size like an extra small or like a 3X, I already have the jacket. So it's like, yes, I can start on this tomorrow and get it done in 3 days and they'll have it. And
Yeah.
so that saves me money on having to find like the jacket and wait for it to come to me, then do it, then wait for them to come get it or ship it out or whatever. And so that helped a lot, but the money flow was what really hit the hardest, I think.
Okay. So your job, are you still just counting on your art and
Yeah, I'm still counting. It's like 60% art, 40% vintage.
okay. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm listening to you talk and I'm backtracking again to that's the power of Instagram, because I think what you're experiencing is like, yeah, that's this concentrated area. But if you're able to, and I'm talking about this because I went through the same thing. Instantly, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to keep me and my children in this house. And to me, it was what I had been working on over the years, but was busy when there wasn't a pandemic, doing things for the nonprofit that I work for. But it gave me a chance to really think about how to market outside of here. So now, pretty much daily, I'm shipping things all over the country. I've gotten a few orders out of the country, and I think what you're doing with the jackets, especially, has that type of appeal. So you really should think about that, and then because I don't know where you were working, but I'm gonna think you weren't loving it.
It was rough, man. It was a certain restaurant that sold fried chicken, and it wasn't really
Okay,
the good ones.
it's the job I remember, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like, dude, you don't need to be there.
No.
You're you have way more potential than that. So think about that. I'm lecturing you always, but I can't help it.
It's good lecturing though. It's not like finger point wave type lecture. It's like pristine information lesson.
Well, and it's always, you can listen to me or not. It's okay. But to me, I just man, I enjoy watching your creativity because it always reminds me of why I got into this, why I still do this, why I'm this age with this many kids and still am intent on getting people to pay me for my self-expression. So anyways, things to think
Makes sense.
about. And if you ever want to pick my brain further on that, but there's plenty of, I mean, you're familiar with YouTube and all that. There's plenty of stuff out there that give you ideas and push things along. So what else, man? What's in the future?
Like I said, I'm about to start building up a screen printing rig so I can start doing this like branded stuff. And that kind of stems from like I look at a lot of people that know me know that I like clothes
Yeah.
too much, to be honest. But
I should have mentioned that. Like, I think fashionista, man.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I've met people that are like, you do art? I thought you just bought clothes. Right? No, but it's funny. But I just look at like some modern clothes versus like just even, for example, like skateboarding stuff from the 80s and 90s and even just early 2000s. It's progressively gotten like more boring. And so I'm trying to like bring back some of that old steez of it looking good like it did in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, whether that be with like absurd dragons and skulls or just circles and triangles and stuff that make it look all wonky.
Where do you think that interest came from? Where do you think that developed from?
I don't. Oh man, I think a lot of it comes from. So what the one memory I have of like old stuff as a kid was my cousin showed me a lot of 90s anime.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that 90s anime then led to like, okay, what else is from that time period in like 80s and 90s? And I started getting into like metal and like that golden era of metal's like 80s and punk and stuff like that. And then more later, more hip hop stuff. And oh goodness, okay, got
it. But I liked what I was hearing because it's what I thought. Music was a source of inspiration for you.
Absolutely.
And that
for sure.
Because Teal Sons and I talked about this when he was on, and you know how key music is to creativity. For me, growing up, it was looking at album art, and that got me into photography, which led into everything else that I did. But I think that's cool, and I get to see it in the stuff you put together. I think one of my favorites is you showed up to an art show carrying a Care Bear once.
Yeah, that was good. That was real good.
That was the highlight of the show for me. So.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm pretty sure I was wearing like a Metallica Ride the Lightning shirt, just carrying a Care Bear walking through, and that was the fit. Just
that was it, man.
That was it. That's what people asked about.
Yeah, Damien has arrived. It's like, there he is.
That's how it's got to be sometimes.
I agree. A friend of mine was talking about when, well, he was inferring that I showed up to the outdoor markets not knowing what Houston weather was like, because I would show up pretty much in a suit, ascot, and I'm like, well, I'm conscious of how to interpret the weather forecast. I know it's hot, but all of the people out there remembered the guy in the ascot in Houston, 100-degree weather. It was a statement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. Not as much as well. Parenthood is just beating me down. I don't dapper up the way I used to, but
I will say, I remember that era of Sergio. It was like, I want to say it was either like a brown or a gray, like corduroy-esque like suit jacket. Always had paint on it in the ascot. I remember that pretty distinctly.
I still do it a bit, but when I was, like I said, pre-fatherhood in Houston, man, I used to really go for it. But I don't know. I don't have time to shop, or I don't make time. I'm doing father stuff.
Hey, how it be sometimes.
You might know one day. So I think I realized my life had changed when I went to a photo shoot and somebody chased behind me and asked me if this was my diaper. And I said, yeah, that's my diaper. Thank you. Like things done changed. Man. So, what? Because some people are listening. Talk about themes on your jackets. What is your?
So with like things when it's like I'm gonna personally do this, right? And it's almost always Looney Tunes stuff.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about like Looney Tunes stuff, but it's like, all right, I have this denim jacket. What am I gonna paint on it? It's always a Looney Tunes character. Uh, and obviously I do like the commissions that are other stuff, but it's like I gotta paint this Looney Tunes character on this now.
Well,
And
see that was a hot '90s thing. You're conscious of that, yeah?
yeah, that's probably what a lot of it comes from. Because like I'll
Yeah.
see pictures of like Flavor Flav in those like Fred's Flintstone pants,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yo, that might have been an idea.
See, that was high school for me. I remember that being everywhere. So,
It was the golden era of
well,
weird clothes.
so talk about commission versus just doing what you want.
I will say that commissions normally, I'm lucky enough to, I've never had somebody want something that just in my head, I'm like, this is a terrible idea. Uh, that's what would be really hard for me. I would still do it. Don't get me wrong, but it would be really like gut wrenching and grueling to like work on this jacket and being like, yo, looks dumb,
Yeah.
and like, which mind you, they would like it, and that's what really matters. But I'm lucky enough to where when people commission me to do stuff, like even like the music stuff that people have commissioned me to do is like punk stuff or like Depeche Mode stuff. So it's like stuff I actually like. So I'm lucky enough to be like, yo, that'll be good. And so I can have that comments throughout it. Um, so with that being said, like the commission stuff normally it feels about just as normal as just doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm lucky in that sense that I don't have to do commissions that either worry me about my being able to actually sit down and do it well, just talent based, and also the mentality of like, yo, this is bad. So I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about any of that. And I'm lucky enough that I haven't had to worry about that. When I have to worry about that, I'll worry about it, but I haven't had to yet.
Yeah. Well, the day may come, and I'll just say it's okay to say no. I actually say no to a lot of things, and it actually it just feels better than doing something I didn't want to do.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah. Well, you always have to think about why you got into something. Did you get into it to be told what to do, or
Yeah.
to do? It's like I'll play ball in a commission, but I've got to like this idea. So
Yeah.
what else, man?
Oh man, another big inspiration. Just VHS tapes. Um, it's odd the amount like it started off with just buying like VHS tapes that you could find anywhere, and then it's like dove into like, whoa, look at this weird Russian bootleg of Alien versus Predator that has them hand drawn on it really badly. It's like this is important, and
Yeah,
so like, and it's I think VHSs and cassette tapes, like music cassette tapes, that like influence of like the whole bootleg thing and like drawing your own artwork for them. I think that was like peak of like cultural movements and stuff.
I was in a Zoom meeting actually, and so this friend of mine had a poster behind her, and I have to ask her more about it, but it's I want to say Poland. I could be wrong on the country, but for some reason they weren't allowed to have the movie posters from the companies, so they would make their own. Have you seen these?
Yeah, Poland was really big on it. Russia a little bit, and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico did it too, where they do their own covers and they would look really cool, but it would have
Yeah.
nothing to do with the movie.
Right, because they're just making stuff up. It's
Yeah, that
great.
they think fits, and they're really good. I had this homegirl in high school who was from Puerto Rico, and she had a bunch of them that she had like taken when she moved. She would show me them like all the time, and I was trying to buy them off her, and she's like, no. But they were like the coolest thing ever. Just seeing just like random like Batman with a sword made no sense, but it's like he's got a sword now.
I think the idea of bootleg in general, it's just cool to look at.
Oh, it's
Like
really good.
if you look at bootleg toys, bootleg Star Wars, um, and it reminds me of youth because sometimes I had these bootleg toys.
Those bootleg figures are really good.
But and then it makes me happy. Whereas back then I was like, man, I wish I had the real the real brand one. But then
Yeah, and then you see them now, and you're like, God, I
but
wish
then
I still had them.
well, it became an aesthetic, and it it translated into everything. Like growing up for me, especially girlfriends, didn't understand my music. Like, why are you? How did you even find this record? And when I thought about that question, it was, well, I mean, I could go pay a lot of money to go to an arena concert, which I couldn't. I couldn't pay that. So my alternative was the places that it was like $5 to get in, or I knew somebody, or I carried some equipment in.
You carry an extension cord. You got with the band.
Yeah, and so that was the music that I was excited about because I saw it live. I saw the opening bands, and then I'd start to dig in record stores, pre-internet,
Yeah,
and just uh, I don't know. It's like another plane of existence, I think sometimes, and that's how bootleg stuff is, and that's kind of sounds like what you're drawn to as well. I mean, I know you are musically because that's been a
yeah,
lot of our conversations. It's just records, and which I always enjoy because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about, and
yeah.
I don't know if you experienced that, but it's like,
All the time.
yeah, like okay, I'll just be quiet.
I remember I've gone on like dates, especially like
Yeah,
now, like not to gatekeep or anything. Like now, when people are just kind of wearing metal artwork shirts, which is all cool and fine or whatever. I went on a date with this girl one time. She was wearing a Napalm Death shirt, and I was like, "Oh, dude, Napalm Death's really cool." You'd also like, like all these other bands like Charles Bronson and stuff. And she's like, "Dude, I don't even know what this is." And I was like, "This cool shirt," and I was like, "Oh, well, it is a cool shirt." I was like, "Ignore everything I just told you."
yeah, that's always a bummer.
I mean,
Like,
it's okay. Like it's kind of like, I'm not gonna be the kind of guy that's like, oh, you were in a Metallica album, name your top 6 Metallica tracks ever. Like I'm not gonna be that guy
you should
about it.
totally become that guy, Damien.
I don't think
Like,
I should.
no, that is annoying. No, nobody wants to be that guy. But yeah, by the same token, sometimes you're just dejected about a conversation.
Yeah,
You
for
have this
sure.
hope. Well, yeah, it's all right. We're gonna make it, Damien.
It was just funny to see the look on her face. She's like, "What are you talking about? I don't even know what this is." It's like speaking a different language to somebody. They just don't even know what you're talking about.
So, how much inventory have you built up painting wise? You said you were
I actually I moved quite a bit of them. I ended up selling a lot to like family members that live like out of state that just don't ever get to see me.
cool.
They all found out that I had a bunch of paintings and all hit me up at the same time. They're like, "We'll give you 75 for it or 100 for it," or like whatever it was for it. And I was like, "Deal." Uh,
Yeah.
but so like now I have like 7 paintings left, is it? And I need
Okay.
to get on the ball about doing more. But for a little bit, it was literally like me just I would go to like Hobby Lobby, get those cheap canvas bundles,
Mhm.
and then like over a week or two, just paint all of them, go get more of them. And I was making enough off the vintage clothes where I could keep buying the canvases, and it wasn't setting me back any. So I painted a ton, and then like my family members all found out, like family members that I don't even know, like all found out, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna be something big. We better get one,"
Well, they're
kind of
smart.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So, you have these things in motion. Are you thinking about how it develops? And if so, like, what are you doing to make those things happen?
So I will say, like, for example, like the shirt thing going in motion. Uh, what I had decided for my first thing is I was just gonna do a bunch of stuff on vintage camo, because like I was like I'd picked up a bunch of like those like 80s and 90s like hunting camos that are more illustrated than just printed on, and I was like, man, these are really good blanks. And I was like, what can I do with all of these? Because I had built up a stockpile of like 15 pairs of pants that I couldn't fit and like things like that. I was like, what can I do with these? And I was like, I just need to go and screen print on all of these.
Yeah.
And so like pants, jackets, a couple hats, a lot of shirts. I'm just gonna sit down and I've been kind of like working on the designs and stuff that I want to do for them. Very politically charged designs, because it's like that redneck camo. So I had to do
Yeah.
some political like type stuff on them. And
Well, it's contrast, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's funny because it works, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I'm hopefully by time like December comes around, I'm building the rig right now. I'm having old Cedric help me make the screens and stuff, and so I should be able to have that ball rolling by time like early December, right in time for people to start buying stuff.
Yeah. Well,
And
cool.
so it should work out. That'll be like the first drop. Then I have all my other stuff from there planned out where it's like bigger scale stuff.
But as far as marketing it, are you evolving that idea or
I have been a, a a weird kind of thing that I've wanted to do with it is I wanted to do an old style like skate tape, like skate companies used to do. And so I've been like underhandedly like going around, not, I won't say underhandedly making friends because these are people I actually enjoy being around, but like I've kind of like snooped and seen like who's good at skateboarding, so I can be like, oh yes, would you like to be in this video, kind of thing. And it's like, I'll
Yeah.
give you shirts and money and stuff if you skate this video for me, kind of thing, which is kind of how it has to be anyways.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. I love that.
And so like that'll be cool. And I have a lot of people that, you know, that kind of come from the same like level of interest as me on stuff, and they're like, hey, can we do jackass style stuff in the skate tape? And it's like, absolutely, you sure can. It's like, I am not going to stop my tape from looking even better because of the fear of you getting hurt. That's fine by me.
You know, it's funny. In Houston, I was on a photo shoot, and it was Red Bull was the client, and so we're going from scene to scene doing these pictures with these models, and these skater kids come along, and then they scurry off. There was I mean, it was just an exchange, but it was funny because we all sat there and kind of thought the same thing. I was the first to say it. I'm like, you know what's funny? Generation to generation, skate culture doesn't really change much.
Absolutely. It doesn't.
Those
It's funny.
kids are the same as they were when I was growing up. So yeah, it's really funny. Because like that, just that inquiry, can we do jackass type stuff? I'm like, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what they would ask.
Well, it's funny because I've talked to like old head skate dudes too, like that are in their like 40s now. Like, oh, I grew up in Santa Cruz. I used to skate all the time. They said that like growing up, like surfer dudes were that same way. They
Yeah,
were a little bit more laid back, but they still had that like attitude of like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna go surf and live on the beach and
yeah,
stuff like that whole. I guess that whole like freedom mentality, and I'm sure like that skateboarding. That's really all extreme sports. Really, there's a lot of things, art, music. The sound. It all kind of comes full circle.
there was a what was the movie? Jonah Hill directed it.
Oh, Midsummer, or not Midsummer. What
Mid
is the name of that?
'90s.
Mid '90s. That's what it is. Definitely not Midsummer. Mid '90s.
Yeah, you saw that?
I did. I did.
You know, it was weird because I no, not a skater. Um, I had some skater friends, but just not my culture. But that movie was really deep, I thought. Like,
I think it was really well done.
I thought the line I connected with the most was, I guess he's talking with the homeless guy, and he asks a question back. Why do you skate? He's like,
Yeah.
it just feels good. I forget about everything when I'm doing it, and that was actually a pretty deep answer. Because that's how I feel when I make things. When I'm in my groove, when I'm creating too many projects. I mean, that's my zone, and I feel like that. So it brought me closer to the skater community, and I'm sure they're all thankful for it. So
That's what they needed. The last
that's
piece of the puzzle was Sergio.
you know what? It's like we needed that guy. We did.
There's
Yeah.
like groups of them in big empty rooms with echoes just yelling like, "Yes, we got it."
They're listening right now, and we've changed the world on election night, no less.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited, dude. No telling what's next.
I don't know if
Oh,
I would
man.
necessarily say I'm excited about it, but
Yeah.
it'll happen. It'll happen.
Okay.
Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Let them have their celebration, Damien. Don't downplay this.
Don't downplay this.
This is an important moment. Man. Well, good, man. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me the truth. Well, how are you? I mean, are you out and about without a mask?
Oh no, I just go on. I go with
Frolicking
a
in
mask.
malls. Do
I
people go to malls?
Dude, I was just talking about this the other day. I walked into the mall and it was empty. It was like empty.
Oh,
And like,
man.
mind you, I know a lot of it is like the virus and stuff, but like even before then, I remember going in the mall to go get socks or pants or something, right? And I was like,
Madman.
yeah, and
That's
like
crazy.
I was like, man, I stop. I was like, man, I was like, there's hardly anybody in the mall. And I was like, man, when I was a kid, I remember seeing all the emo kids and little like mall goths and stuff like all over the place, like mall rats type stuff, like everywhere. And then I go in and there's like people my age that look like we're all suffering. I mean, like we just gotta go pick up these Adidas's or something. Right? Like we just didn't want to order them online. That was cheaper without paying shipping or something. And like I feel like it's a culture that's like dying. I feel like kids need to start going to the mall again.
Well, what's killed it is the shopping centers like that have your Michaels and your Hobby Lobby and your whatever.
Or also just like internet shopping.
There's that, but I mean, going to the physical store has been replaced by those things, I think. As far as kids hanging out on it, I think there's enough internet technology that, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because I remember, I don't know why I was in the mall, but I'm like, man, these things are dead. Occasionally I used to take my kids to the playground, but
yeah,
that was about the extent of it. I'm like, well, that sucks too. There's no reason to be here, except for bad food court food.
Oh, bad food court food.
Yeah, not bad. That's not my store.
Bed Bath Beyond isn't your place. It's not your dish.
It's not up there, man. Sorry.
It's not in your top 5 stores of all time.
No, it didn't make the list. Shoot. But no, man, it's good. Keep at it. I want to see the evolution of Damien Taylor, and I'm committed to keep on continuing the artist Bebop series. Just want you to come back and tell me about your overwhelming success.
I will. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be that I've completely just lost my mind and I've pulled all my hair out, and it's going to be like a reverse Jackson Pollock, or I'm just off the walls. And
we will rehab you.
We're going to rehab me.
Yeah. Well, you talked about furthering us here, but inspiration is a lot of pop culture. Are there any artists that you've taken inspiration from?
I don't know how familiar you are with like street artwork and stuff, but Cause, Kaws, Cause, the guy that does the little characters like the boneheads, and he did the 808s and Heartbreak artwork for Kanye West. Like that artist, I like him quite a lot. Uh, Takashi Murakami, the Japanese artist that does all the
Oh
flowers
man,
and stuff,
yeah,
like
yeah.
him a lot. Uh, Keith Haring, I like sometimes. I get into moods about Keith Haring. Like sometimes, like, wow, that was a pretty cool idea, and other times, like, stupid stick figures and stuff like that. Like just depending on how I'm feeling in the day. But yeah, like a lot of those kind of guys. Uh, Looking back on it, which I mean, like looking back on it, like I grew up in the '80s. A lot of uh, the older
When
like
did you grow up?
me. I'm
Yeah.
23, so I guess in
Okay.
the 2000s.
Way back in the day, man.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
actually I'm 46, but like looking back on it, like in the 80s, you can kind of see when skateboarding ads, like if you really trace it, they started getting like, oh, we got to actually start doing cool stuff because like up until the 80s and stuff, it was just some kid on a skateboard, and it's like this is the ad, right? But then
Yeah.
like Powell Peralta skateboards and stuff, they started like let's put a poodle on a skateboard, or let's make Tony Hawk be biting a skateboard, or like somebody eating it like it's breakfast. And it was like they were like those ads are not going to work, and then they totally worked.
Yeah. Now I will say that you know, I wasn't a skater, but I loved looking at the art that was going onto boards. I just loved looking at those, and I think, had some kind of influence. Now that I think about it, but what you're describing were yeah, because it was just a strip, of a skateboard, like a blue
Yeah.
or a yellow, and some kid, and so yeah, I had never really thought about that shift because yeah, all of a sudden,
All of a
skating
sudden, it
was a
was
different thing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, that looks cool, I still didn't want to bust my ass on a board, so I was like, I'll just observe from afar.
Well, even just in like just looking at the artworks on skateboards in the '80s was when they really started making them look good. Like in the '70s, it was just like, oh, there's a wave on this because it's like surfing. And in the '80s, they were like, let's put dragons and grim reapers and
Yeah,
Dracula and stuff on them, and like pentagrams and stuff, make it look really cool. And it was like, it's what the
yeah,
kids want. They want the blood and the violence.
yeah. Well, they were kind of right.
What's funny is like Todd McFarlane, the guy that like made Spawn, that was something
Yeah.
he said a lot. Like there's an old '90s video of him like drawing with like, and while Stanley's talking to him or whatever, he's like, I'm gonna put a bunch of skulls on this guy, and Stanley's like, why are you gonna put all those skulls on him? He's like, because he was like. And Todd McFarlane's like, oh, the kids love skulls, chains, skulls, swords, everything. The kids love them, and it's like the funniest thing because it's true. Like as people, as like as that darker imagery does ring a bell to a lot of people.
Well, yeah, that as far as comic books, I remember that shift as well because we had Marvel, we had DC, and then all of a sudden there was Image,
Yeah,
and we uh, comics I did devour, and I remember getting the early Spawns and all just anything Image because it was grittier and there were
it is a lot
skulls
grittier.
and just yeah, and then that changed the way DC and Marvel made comics, which
Absolutely.
was it's cool to see things have an effect on one another. So and that's why I keep connected, man. I'm watching the youth because I still get ideas and I still do different things because of it. So keep on, keep on bringing it. And likewise,
Absolutely.
it's it's energy. It's good energy. So, and that is how we're going to shape the future of creativity and art. So keep on keeping on, man.
I will. You better do the same.
I will see you next time.
Later, Serge.
All right, dude. All right, we're rewinding here. because we got off camera and started talking about TikTok, and Damien said he's tired of doing dances for TikTok.
Tired of being an e-boy.
He will not have it anymore. Well, okay, so here's my experience. I saw it and I was like, this is one long fart joke. I was completely confused by the format. Like, what's going on here? Like, because, yeah, there's people dancing, it's just like, then after a while, I'm like, I start to get it. And a lot of it has different uses. And strangely enough, what really drew me into it is when the George Floyd riots. If you wanted to see what was really happening, it was being uploaded to TikTok. And so I started to consume it a lot. But then in between, riot stuff, there were these people dancing. And I started to get it a little bit. I think it's escapism.
The duality of man.
People just want to be happy for the most part. There are those that are maybe bent on not being happy, but I think I don't see it as I can see having an aversion to it, because I had that. I was like, man, this is stupid.
This is dumb.
But then I was like, well, you're a grown up now, and when a new format comes along, you have to capitalize on it. As an artist, as a business person, my thing is like, I need to get all of these things out there. So I watched it, then I was trying to wrap my head around it. I made a few pieces of content, and I realized, you're just trying to copy what you see, and that's not you. And I think most people kind of feel pressure to do that, maybe, because it becomes about like, I want to go viral.
Yeah.
But when I started to have fun with it was when I just started to be me on it. And I mean, I got like a pathetic amount of followers, numbers wise. But
6.
Yeah, I got 5. Okay, Damien. No, but no, I don't have many. But I always say those are my followers, and they are watching. It's cool. But it I started to make content that I like, and then I started to use it for TikTok, but then other formats. And that's brought me business, and that's brought people my way. So the thing is, at the end of it, it's all work, because that's marketing. But I always say it beats checking into a cubicle every day.
Absolutely.
If all I'm doing is trying to figure out how to make a video that I like, that can promote my message and what I do, then I think it was worth the effort to do that. So again, I'm lecturing you. I apologize, Damien. You will like TikTok, but
have like a chalkboard, like Goodwill Hunting. It's like, this is.
my thing, like TikTok, especially, it's about seeing the different personalities, because it's like, it's TV, at a like amazing pace, like but I think you have personality enough to draw people in on that.
I have enough personality to be an e-boy.
That's right. Well, too, it's not about
no, I get what you're saying.
It's not about anything but drawing people to your product.
Absolutely.
Your brand. So anyways, work it. All right, we will sign out.
All right, I'll catch you later, bud.
Bebop.